The new smartphones are great for making Christian movies. I've always used an iPhone 11 for pickup shots and filming short scenes. But since today, most of the stuff I shoot ends up on YouTube or web streaming platforms, I'm going to be shooting a lot more Christian videos and Christian short movies with my iPhone 11 rather than with my DSLR 4K Panasonic GH5 cameras. And here's why. The 4K quality on the iPhone 11 or 12 or later is amazing. Sure is not a Red camera or a top 6K Blackmagic or top Sony camera. But when today we shoot and edit more stuff for web streaming, the basic 4K quality found on top smartphones is great enough for web streaming and getting the job done faster, more efficiently and with way lower budgets. Editing 4K files off a smartphone is way more easier and faster than editing full 4K from a DSLR file. Editing real 4K and or 6K is getting crazier by the minute. Too much time is being wasted in the process of conversion. Another cool thing about shooting with a smartphone is that smartphones don't need SD cards. I'm sure eventually they will have it, but right now they don't. The built-in switchable wide-angle lens that goes from super wide to medium shot angle is awesome. I love it. No other DSLRs or any other video camera or camcorder in the world can do that. At least not yet. And the new smartphone's built-in super stabilization system can't be beat by any other handheld or mechanical stabilizer system created for DSLRs in the industry. In fact, the smartphone stabilization can beat any of the old SteadyShot or Steadicam systems. The smartphone stabilization system is built in and the smartphone camera has a super fast autofocus, especially on newer smartphones. The autofocus always works 100% of the time, which is also hard to find or beat in the film, TV or video production industry. And something else I like, is that a smartphone is small enough and lightweight that it fits on most any pocket. It's super lightweight, and it's flat and small enough to be quickly hidden if needed. This allows us to shoot in most anywhere in public and at any time and get away with it without having to get an expensive location permit or insurance. Simply because everyone today is used to seeing people holding, aiming and filming within smartphone. A smartphone is always ready to film at a moment's notice. Not so with any other camera in the industry. In fact, I have my iPhone settings done way beforehand. So when I'm ready to film something, I just turn on my iPhone, select video, frame the shot and I'm good to go. Just aim, press and shoot. The quick draw and readiness of any of the newest iPhones or Androids of today is just super amazing. And a great slow motion is accessible at the touch of a finger. That, my friends, is a truth that's impossible to beat. In my over 30 years of Christian movie making and making short Christian videos on a weekly and monthly basis, I can attest to the fact that no other video camera in the industry can beat the fast speed and how easy it is to set up a shot, frame it, press record, and still get a perfect framed and focused 4K quality image with a smartphone. With the newest smartphones, a Christian movie maker should be making faith-based movies, Christian short and Christian videos and features back to back. There's truly no more excuses for not filming a short or feature anymore. Again, what I love about the smartphone cameras is that as a director of photography and a camera operator, there's not much lighting setups needed or camera assistant or crew required. Meaning that for the first time in movie making history, a smartphone operator can shoot an entire movie without a crew, especially when making rock-bottom low-budget movies or no-budget movies. Today, with the help of a smartphone, all a filmmaker needs to make a movie is to have a basic script, a 4K smartphone and hire a few good actors. And with a smartphone in hand, anyone can make an entire movie for no money or very little money. Of course, the one-man band, camera operator / producer / director / DP and editor needs to have some basic experience on how to make a movie, how to hire the right actors, and even how to shoot, frame a shot and use the beauty of available lighting, instead of using a large bulky lighting kit. Let me ask you a question. When regular people walk around in this real world, do you see anyone next to them carrying lights to make sure they are lit up correctly? No. The history of film lighting started with the use of only one light: sunlight. Back in the late 1800s, in the beginning of filmmaking, there were no strong lights that could expose film properly. So in order to light someone, they had to use sunlight. And when the first film studio called the Black Maria was created, sunlight is all they used. Only the sun had enough power to expose the motion picture film properly. In fact, even today, many filmmakers in Europe, many cinematographers still use available lighting, because it's not only cheaper to shoot, but also, they can move faster in the production process.
We don't prep right in Egypt. We don't give enough time for the pre-production. We do it like very quickly, we do it on the go, we don't concentrate on it. And this is very, very extremely important to the industry. It's the real work happens in the pre-production. Definitely I try to avoid shooting in the midday, at least from 11 to 2. I try to do something indoors. I try to stop completely and wait for the right moment and to be very fast just to catch what we lost of the day. And I aim to use the good light in the morning and in the evening. And otherwise, if I have to shoot, I just cut the sun and try to deal without the direct sunlight. But this is hard because it takes a lot of time and a lot of heat to equalize the light in the background and the light you're using. It's very hard on the actors. So I try to avoid shooting at this time, but it doesn't work all the time.
Because setting up lights, Hollywood style, takes time. And Hollywood did it, because they had the big budgets to do it. The first book that changed my mind about lighting like Hollywood was an old book written by the cinematographer Nestor Almendros, who shot many films both in Europe and in the United States. He was the cinematographer of The Blue Lagoon movie, filmed in 1979. In his book A Man with a Camera, Nestor explains how he shot The Blue Lagoon with a very minimum amount of lighting, and explained his theory of filming with mostly available lighting. And that mindset was what made sense to me and allowed me to make 5 feature films with mostly available lighting, and mostly using only 2 soft lights, to make Christian films under $10,000. Now, let's talk about the basic requirements needed to make a no-budget indie movie using a smartphone. First, the script. You will need a basic script to make a no-budget movie, of course. Only that I would not use the usual Hollywood script format at all, not when filming a no-budget smartphone movie. I will talk about the basic script later. Reason being, is that a smartphone movie production moves faster from scene to scene, while a big Hollywood movie production, scenes move a lot slower. Because moving the camera, dolly, the lights and a jib takes a lot of time to move from one area within a location to another area. For one thing, in a big budget Hollywood type movie, you always have a lot of people standing around waiting for the director to tell them what to do next or what will happen next. In a no budget movie, you don't have that, because you don't have a crew. So the producer/director/DP are all one and the same person. Another great thing about a no-budget smartphone camera production is that the camera acts as a dolly, a steady cam, and at times with proper gadget as a crane. The only thing I would suggest is a DJI stabilizer. And a small 4K drone. Owning a drone or borrowing one for a few wide cinematic scenes is a must-have for any movie, since using jibs, cranes or drones always makes your movie seem shot on a bigger budget. But to be honest, a DJI drone and a DJI smartphone stabilizer are the 2 video production tools you will ever need aside from a 4K smartphone. What smartphone to use? For the smartphone, it's always a good idea to use one of the latest smartphones in the market, since the latest smartphones should have the best camera and the best quality. And it could be either an Android or iPhone or any other brand that promises a better video camera quality. And of course, always use a smartphone with the ability to record on 4K, 6K or eventually 8K plus more. But the reality so far, is that a 4K quality smartphone video will always look amazing online or on any smart TV. Filming your movie in at least 4K format should ensure a good potential distributor outlet, or even when the filmmaker decides to self-distribute their own movie. A smartphone grip holder. The other thing you will need to handhold your smartphone steadily is using some kind of smartphone grip. Because a smartphone is nice and flat, tough, and small enough to fit in your pocket. But they are not so easy to grab and handhold when filming a long movie by hand. This is the type of basic handle I use. There are many other alternatives out there. A nice comfortable handle for your hand is important, since you may be holding the smartphone all day during filming. The one I use is very simple. It's basically a camera stand grip. I just use the grip to have a nice hand hold of the smartphone camera. You don't want to drop it. The camera stabilizer, like I mentioned before, the other gear I would use when running or moving fast with a smartphone is a DJI stabilizer or a similar stabilizer for smartphones. This amazing stabilizers eliminate the need for steady cams or steady shot apparatus, those are not needed anymore, because smartphones come already equipped with a very good image stabilizer built in. And it makes your shots look and feel amazingly smooth when walking or running. I love these new stabilizers because back then, setting up a Steadicam or a professional dolly, it would often take us 30 to 45 minutes to set up. But today, because of the new DJI handheld stabilizers, allows anyone to get very smooth shots even when walking fast, running, going up the stairs, or filming inside or outside a moving car. And what's great about them is that it only takes a few minutes to set it up. Let's talk about lighting. In my movie Hidden Rage, I mostly use the available lighting we had on location. Filming with available lighting allows you work faster and get more scenes done in a day. I didn't have to worry about carrying lights and setting them up, throwing AC cables all over the floor and looking for electric outlets to connect these lights. Believe it or not, all that takes time away from your production day. You only have 8 to 10 hours to shoot several scenes in a day. And if you spend 4 or 5 hours setting up the camera, the lights, a dolly, blocking actors and directing them, you end up with only 4 or 5 hours of actual filming. I only had 2 soft lights for the filming of Hidden Rage movie, and they were mainly used to light faces, but I ended up using only 1 soft light throughout the entire movie. And for the rest of the scenes, I used all available lighting. I'm a firm believer that every location has its own beauty, light sources and mood. In fact, by lighting it, we sometimes tend to overlight the scene, which usually destroys the beauty of its original available ambience of the location. Here is the truth. In cinematography, less light is always better than too much light. That's a fact. If you study great cinematic scenes, you will often find 50% of dark areas and 50% of bright areas in the same scene. The way Hollywood lights a big movie set, sometimes they spend way too much time lighting it, and sometimes they spend more time lighting a scene than shooting the actual movie scene. And by using a smartphone as a cinematic production tool creatively, a smartphone can always help the filmmaker eliminate the use of extra portable lights in a scene. Because again, most any location, interior or exterior, already has its own available ambient lighting. So the key is to learn to look for, seek and study the available lighting in any given location. The reason most filmmakers haven't used available lighting is because they still think they have to light the scene with a ton of lights. Next comes the sound recording. Professional film sound recording has always been done separate from the film camera. But today, with digital video cameras, you can plug most any mic directly to a digital camera and you are ready to record great sound on the camera itself, and you may plug in earphones and hear the audio being recorded live. Now, the problem with smartphones today is that yes, you can record direct audio from a microphone to the smartphone. But the issue is that you wouldn't be able to hear what's been recorded, because a smartphone doesn't have a separate earphone output connection like a professional recorder has. So, when shooting and recording audio with a smartphone, at the end of shooting each scene you will need to stop production for a moment, to check the entire scene on playback mode, just to make sure that good audio was recorded. Now I will talk about using a separate digital audio recorder. In other words, record video and audio on the smartphone. But instead, have the shotgun microphone connected to a separate digital audio recorder and recording audio totally separate from the smartphone, since this will give the filmmaker the ability to record a more professional audio. In this scenario, the filmmaker needs to work closely with a sound person, who will hold the boom mic, while recording clean professional audio. So this basically requires a 2-person crew. One great audio recorder that is often used in indie digital movie making is the Zoom H1 portable digital recorder. This audio recorder allows a sound person or the filmmaker to record audio while also hearing what's been recorded by using earphones. Of course, this separate audio files can be easily synced and edited in post-production. Thank you for watching How to Make Movies with a Smartphone.